Good evening, folks. Welcome to Curveball Convos with your boys at Carolina Curveball. Tonight, we have a full barn tonight. Really looking forward to this show tonight. Tonight, we're going to recap all that went on in the Carolinas as well as around the country in college baseball as we are now through 7 weeks of the season. Wow, boys, it really is flying by. For those listening, I'm Kason Rameli, joined by Braxton, Colby, and Reed. Reed, we will begin with you. How's it going, man?
It's going good. Eventful weekend around the diamond. Quite a few surprises, to say the least, that we'll get into here shortly.
For sure. Colby, man, how's it going? How was your weekend, man?
Yeah, good. Watched some baseball, a good bit of basketball. Great time of the year right now. MLB opening up and college baseball in full swing with March Madness. Got everything on.
For sure. Braxton and Bogey, how is it going?
Yeah, we're good over here. Can second all that. Great weekend. Really enjoyed all the sports on, especially the baseball games. But yeah, looking forward to talking some ball tonight. We're going to have an interesting week with the rankings, I think. A lot of stuff, a lot of movement. A lot of teams just kind of right on the bubble, I think, that we need to figure out, who's got the best case to be in. This will obviously all change in the coming weeks, but we're heading into April here now, so it's starting to get real. Once basketball finishes up, I think the world will start looking to the diamond. So,
yeah, I definitely think we are in that what's so-called crossover season as basketball is coming to an end and college baseball is going to the forefront. It's kind of interesting. I was thinking about it the other day how when college baseball kicked off the season around Valentine's Day, that was kind of like the lull kind of backstretch of college basketball playing the conference. So people are kind of overlooking it, looking forward to the conference tournament. People are, I wouldn't say bored of it, but kind of have their fair share. And so when college baseball comes, it's kind of like, oh, wow, this is like fresh and new teams, new season. And then once conference tournaments start and then March Madness, college baseball does take a back seat. I'm just going to say it plain as day. But now as we're getting into the Final Four and national championship, college baseball is going to open up for sure. And the last thing I want to touch on with college basketball, are your boys brackets intact, or are they absolutely busted like mine? Because I didn't have a single one seed making my Final Four, so that just goes to show right there.
Yeah, my bracket was cooked after the first day.
Colby?
really, did you have a bunch of upsets?
Yeah, well, my national champ went out in the first round, so
Oh, that's it. That's interesting. Who'd you pick?
the Heels.
Shocker. Colby, how's your bracket?
I mean, I think I have 3 of the Final Four teams, and then I picked Gonzaga, who lost in the second round. I thought they were going to upset Houston.
Braxton, yours intact, bud?
I couldn't tell you. I haven't looked at my bracket, to be honest. I made one for fun for our group, but who's winning that, by the way? Is it still Reed?
Could not tell you.
Yeah.
Lack of focus.
Yeah.
There you go.
I
So,
deleted the app.
All right, as we go into that in terms of lack of focus, we will now be on our main focus, which is college baseball. Braxton, if you want to pull up the final slate or the scoreboard, whatever you would like to call it. It was a very strange week on the diamond, I must say. There are some series that we did not expect to happen at all. Braxton, I will lead off with you. Do we want to start off with Coastal Texas State and just go down the list like we normally do?
yeah, that's fine with me. We can start. We can start with Coastal.
Okay. Braxton, go ahead, bud.
So yeah, Coastal getting a 2-1 series win over Texas State. I believe it was at Texas State. So it looks like their pitching's continue to throw well. I think the only game they lost, I think it was like a 1-0 game, which is there were some low scores, but there was also obviously some high scores, which we'll get into. But I mean, Coastal.
Oh, sorry, Braxton, go on.
Well, I was just gonna say Coastal with a good week. I mean, they beat Clemson in the midweek, and then to go on the road and get a Sun Belt win.
I'll add to the Coastal pitching. I saw their entire starting rotation this weekend didn't give up a single walk, which is,
Really?
I mean, yeah. So you're going to win a lot of games, and you're not putting anyone.
I mean, that's the polar opposite of some teams that we've seen this season that have had walk issues, and it's showing for Coastal right now. And I think they're in a great position right now in the Sun Belt. I mean, if they could have pulled off a win at Troy last week, I think they're probably on the national scale again. But um, we'll see. I don't think they'll be ranked. Maybe the win
I don't
against
know.
the win against Clemson helps them a lot.
True. It does help them. And as we go through this, I also want to go through the midweek talks about each team. And just like you said, they did beat Clemson 8-2. They beat them in Clemson too, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Colby, this Coastal Carolina team last week we were questioning their pitching, and then this week they go out. DeReed said no walks. On Friday night, they won 7-0. They lost on Saturday 1-0, and then today they won 10-3. So 1, 2, 3, 5 runs, something like that around there. Colby, just this Coastal Carolina team, where do you see them finishing in the Sun Belt early in the Sun Belt play?
Probably top 3, if I had to guess. I mean, the Troy series last week, and that's a tough series on the road when Troy can really hit. And then they bounced back. I mean, that was a really competitive series, and they bounced back this week, winning at Clemson and taking the series at Texas State. So I'm pretty encouraged by the Chanticleers.
Do they play Southern Miss soon?
Check.
I hope so.
That would be a very interesting one. And as we go on, Reed, while you look at that, chime in when you get it. Braxton, we'll let you discuss Heels in Miami. I know you're focused on that this weekend. The Heels win the first 2, but do not complete the sweep and drop today's game 4-2. I know that Jake Knapp had a great outing on Friday to really set the tone for them. So go ahead.
Yeah, I'll touch on that. I mean, it was probably one of the more frustrating series wins that you'll see from a team. I mean, the offense has been a big question mark right now for the Heels, and I think it just comes down to lack of slugging, lack of extra base hits. I mean, I think there was one extra base hit all series by the Heels, and they win the series because of their pitching and defense. But Miami's not the best hitting team either, but that's not going to be sustainable in the long run. You need some guys to step up. I mean, I'd say, with Stevenson and Stokely, those are probably your 2 most dangerous hitters at the plate. But if you're facing a lefty, that's somewhat pretty good, maybe like a Fritton or someone like that, like you're going to struggle because you need someone else to step up in that lineup. And Gallagher's not doing it right now. Van de Break, some of these other bats are just not cutting it right now, and they need to find some offense quickly. But I will say, to your point, Kaysen, Knapp and Aiden Hall have been tremendous this season. I mean, when DeCaro is your 3rd best arm right now in the rotation, and we know how good he can be, and we're hoping that he gets to that again, you're looking very good on the mound. So that is what they have going for them. And obviously, anytime you can win a series is great, and then a good midweek win against South Carolina. But so it's not like panic or anything. I mean, you drop the game today, but you've got to figure out how to score runs right now, I think, if you're Carolina. So we'll see how they adjust.
Coastal did not play Southern Miss.
Okay.
Well, they'll see him in the tournament, so
Absolutely.
And Braxton, you were talking about panic mode. Reed, is it time to hit the panic mode down there in Columbia?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 0-4 this week. What are they now? 1-8 in conference play.
Yeah.
That's going to be a steep battle to climb back to even make the SEC tournament, and especially the NCAA tournament. But besides Nathan Hall and Petrie, I mean, just nothing much is going right down there. The pitching's been off past couple of weeks, and offensively, besides Hall and Petrie, they're not getting much production outside of those 2.
Yeah, Kennedy Jones has not been playing well either. That's a big problem for them. And but how much do you guys weigh in of Tennessee being the number 1 team in the country in a factor of that this weekend?
I mean, it definitely played a factor. I will say I think they went in and had a very good game plan and played very well. I noticed today, like, they had a great approach against Becker, like they were just kind of living in that left center gap for the lefty matchups. Like Tennessee is a very legit team. Obviously, they're number one in the nation, but like I think you got to give them a lot of credit for. I mean, South Carolina is a talented team. You know, they might be struggling right now, but they're still going to put 9 guys out there that can play ball and that can beat you, especially at home on any given day. So, you know, give credit to Tennessee to go in there and get any sweep on the road in the SEC is very difficult to do. I don't care who you are, who you're playing. So, I think a little bit does have to do with you know, you got to give Tennessee the credit they deserve to.
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle for South Carolina for sure going forward, and really looking forward to see what they do.
I just want to point out that all the teams in the SEC make the tournament now. So,
Okay.
Yeah,
that is.
I think they changed the format to.
It's the same thing as the ACC, basically.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, South Carolina does not have the pitching to make it through that.
Yeah.
Going to be very.
Who they play next weekend? I mean, 1-8 right now. I mean, it probably doesn't get any easier next week.
Check for us, Reed.
Yeah. Colby, do you have any thoughts on South Carolina and what they can do going forward?
I think it's trouble. I'm not encouraged anymore. I tried to be. That was one of my preseason bold predictions, was them having a really good year and making it to Omaha. I think that's out of the cards now. I'm pretty pessimistic.
At Mississippi State next weekend, and then at A&M the following 2 weeks. So, I mean, they got to win some conference games, and then
1-14
coming up. Yeah, I mean, they could be facing. I mean, they could be 2-12. By the end of it in 2 weeks, at the rate they're playing.
It is absolutely unbelievable, but just really goes to show how good the SEC is. We will now move to the CAA with a massive series with massive CAA implications. Colby, as Campbell takes down College of Charleston. I know that I have not been super high on this Charleston team since the beginning, and this Campbell team has really been proving us wrong, Colby. They back-to-back huge series wins over who we said were the favorites to make the tournament in Wilmington and now College of Charleston.
Yeah, huge. I mean, Campbell didn't start off great at all, but recently they're playing really good ball, winning the series last weekend against Wilmington, then going on the road, Charleston, and taking 2 out of 3. I know both those teams aren't as good right now as we currently thought they would be, but those are still 2 incredibly impressive series wins. And I would say I think they probably have an argument to be in the top 12 right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's 4 straight series wins for Campbell, too.
And Campbell is coming off a 14-4 win over Charlotte during the midweek too. So they are playing some good ball right now, Braxton, down there in Bowie's Creek.
Yeah, I think some of their fans have kind of been in our mentions after this weekend wanting them to be ranked. So
they were.
We'll have to look. I mean, their RPI right now is at 105 with the strength of schedule at 46. So they certainly have an argument. We'll have to see what other teams are at. But, I mean, yeah, like you guys said, they've won 4 straight series. They've started really well in the CAA. They are still a game below 500. I'd like to see them, you know, maybe get some sweeps or, you know, just continue their run they're on. But I think they do have a shot to be ranked this week, at least maybe 12th or something. But this is what Campbell does, man. They always play well in April and in May, and they find themselves in the tournament somehow.
Yeah, very, very happy for that program because they do have the talent to do it. They just have to mash it together. And talking about pulling things together, the Carolina Curveball, Charleston Southern curse is broken. Ever since you put them in the rankings, they went on a massive skid. But Charleston Southern picks up a massive series win versus Winthrop this weekend. Went for the sweep today, did not get it done versus Winthrop Braxton, but this Charleston Southern team has been playing well this weekend.
Yeah, it was much needed. They were sitting at they still are actually. Today's game was big because they still are sitting last in the Big South from conference record, you know, with a tough start, but I think they can definitely build off this. This is a good win against a pretty stout Winthrop team that we know, of course. But I do think that Charleston Southern is a team that will want to be in that Big South tournament, and I think they will. That is what they have their eyes on right now. Their Big South schedule is going to get a little bit easier here in the coming weeks. They've played High Point, Upstate, and Winthrop out of the gate. If you can play maybe like a Longwood or a Radford or a Gardner Webb or a Nashville, no disrespect to those programs coming up, you got to feel good if you're Charleston Southern to come out on top of those if you play your cards right. But this is another team that we've probably got to look at to see if they could be ranked this week as well. I mean, they did lose to UNCW in the midweek in a close ball game, which is another team right in the bubble, but we'll get to them later. But yeah, good for them. Unfortunate for Winthrop. I know that they would have loved to go down there and get a win as well, as the Big South games are vital, for those teams, especially in the middle of the pack. But
yeah, and that is huge for Big South play, and we will now move it to the SoCon. Lane Tobin had himself a solid game today to steal one from Wofford, coming off not forced to sweep. Reed Tobin, the Terriers are playing well, and so is Lane Tobin.
Yeah, Lane Tobin's been on quite the tear the past few weeks, but Wofford, really good week. Go down to Troy on Tuesday night and beat them pretty handily. Ranked Troy team too, and then take the series at Citadel this weekend. So good chance that the Terriers will probably move up in the power rankings. We know definitely wanted the sweep today, but a 3-1 week, that's still really good.
For sure, no question about it. And we're going to pass this next one to Colby Gallimore. Colby, Duke, NC State this weekend, one of the biggest series, I would say, around the country, not only in the Carolinas. On Friday night, Duke beat NC State 5-1. On Saturday, it was a completely different story. NC State wins 14-6. And then today, flip the story over again. Duke wins 16-6 over NC State. Colby, what are your thoughts and analysis fresh out of that series?
Yeah, it was an interesting series, kind of just flip-flopping back and forth. State's kind of all over the place right now. I mean, Friday night, they got another good start from Dominic Fritton, their ace. I mean, Ben Miller got him a couple times, but he wasn't bad at all. I think he gave up 2 or 3 runs over 6 and something innings. State just couldn't get the bats going that game. Then Saturday, the bats got going. It seems like they turned it around. And then today, a bunch of defensive mishaps, errors, and it just fell apart. Just mercy ruled in the 8th inning, 16-6. It's kind of a all over the place series. Not a good one for the Pack besides Saturday.
Yeah, no question about it. And I don't mean to kind of flip it on you like this, but what does this mean for a Duke team going forward, coming off a big win over ECU during the midweek, then host NC State at home? And you said it earlier, Ben Miller is just an absolute animal at the plate. You do not want to see him at the plate.
Yeah, I struggle to see how pitchers get him out when he's locked in like he is right now. I mean, just the past week, Duke swept Virginia, or they won 2 out of 3. Swept them and Charlottesville, right?
Yeah.
And then beat ECU and then took 2 out of 3 from State. They're playing good ball right now. I think they've turned it around. Their rotation has turned it around. I mean, Friday holding State to 1 run, and then today, 6 runs. But it was majority of the back half of the bullpen today. So I think they're looking up.
Yeah, this I know when I got to see them in person for the first time this season, they just have talent on the mound and at the plate. And I know me and Reed touched on Tuesday night. AJ Gracia is having a sophomore slump if there's ever been one. And like me and Reed were saying, if he gets it going and if he bumps up in that lineup, that Duke team is going to be incredible. They have incredible arms on the mound, and Johnson and Talon, the list goes on, and they just have talent all across the board. Reed, your comments on Duke and NC State?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, like we were saying, I mean, if Gracias gets it going, I mean, this team's going to be really scary. I mean, they're starting to find their groove right now. They've been on fire the past couple of weeks, but I did see Gracia today had a RBI single. I'm not sure what else he did the rest of the game. But yeah, I mean, things are looking up for this Duke team. Rough week for state, obviously midweek, and then this weekend. But Duke Carolina next weekend. That is a huge series in the ACC.
No question about it. Braxton, do you have any comments on State and Duke as you wrap this one up?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a fun series to watch. I'm impressed with Duke's talent, like you guys have said. I mean, I think Kyle Johnson and Ben Miller and those guys really stepped up this week, especially today. You know, I think Duke is in a great spot right now. I think they've kind of been in a lot of roller coaster this to start the season, but I think they're starting to find the recipe, and I think they're really starting to figure it out. So I expect this Duke team to be a top 5 team in the ACC when it's all said and done. Um, and that's where we had them before the season. I think that they're going to figure that out. And like you said, Reed, and we've got a big series against them. And right now, I think they're playing a lot better than Carolina on both
Absolutely.
sides of the ball. And that series will start on Thursday, so we might have to figure out some sort of watch along or something for our show on Thursday. But I'm excited for that one for sure, and it should be a good one.
Yeah, we should definitely do a watch along. Have like a muffin eating contest while we do it. Like just like my past hot dog eating contest for the AAC tournament last year for Hoisty Colors and Steve Igo. Shout out Steve Igo. So maybe we'll get some double chocolate chunk muffins for Thursday to watch. As we move on from that great series, we will kind of run through these a little quickly. No disrespect to these programs, but Delaware defeats Elon this weekend in what looks to be a football game. Delaware beats Elon 17-12 today to win the series. Elon having a rough year this year so far. Elon also lost to Wake Forest 10-0 on Tuesday. To move on, Gardner Webb picks up a nice sweep over Longwood. Bless you. I don't think Longwood is the most talented team, but like we said earlier this week, Reed, this Gardner Webb team was needing some wins, so that is good for them. And the one that I do want to talk about, that I do want to spend time on, is High Point. If you guys watching or listening did not get a chance to look at the High Point scores this weekend, I'm going to read them off to you. High Point played Radford this weekend at Radford. On Friday night, High Point defeated Radford 11-2. The second game on Saturday, I am reading this correctly. High Point defeats Radford 32-8. I'll let that one kind of sit there for a second. And then today, High Point beats Radford 14-3. So 14 plus 38 is 42 plus 11. 53 runs scored in one weekend. Braxton, that is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it all year. This High Point lineup, especially the top half of it. I mean, they just hit, and this team right now looks to be a clear-cut favorite in the Big South. I mean, when you look at like them just going on the road and sweeping Radford that easily, this is a Radford team that came to Spartanburg and swept Upstate, right? So like just that right there, it's going to be a tall task for any team to beat this High Point team, especially mixed in with they've had some good success on the mound too, and I just think that right now like their RPI is sitting at 65, strength of schedule around 160 or so, but that's just because they're playing the Big South, and I think this team they're sitting at 6-0. That's a great start for them in the league play, and I just don't see them really slipping up too much. I mean, maybe Upstate gives them a good series. Maybe, Winthrop could play them tight. But right now, this is the best team in the league, and I think they're showing it every week.
There's no question about it. Really looking forward to seeing what a High Point does going forward. To move on here, UNCG defeats VMI. The weekend series, VMI beats UNCG today 8-6 to avoid the sweep. Nice win for the Spartans this weekend. Going to see who they played in the midweek. They lost to New Mexico State on noon on Tuesday. Interesting one. Don't understand the scheduling there, but good for the Spartans. 2-2 on the week. Positive. And Colby Gallimore, Charlotte with a nice sweep over Memphis. I did watch this Memphis team last week, watched a little bit of the series this weekend. Not taking up from Charlotte. This is not a very good Memphis squad last week versus ECU. They did not look very good. Colby, nice series for Charlotte this weekend after a bounce back after a tough loss to Campbell in the midweek.
Yeah, it's good that they just got a series one. It seems like the past few weekends they take Friday's game and then lose Saturday and Sunday. So it's good to get a series one, and they swept too. No, it's not a great Memphis team, but after losing pretty bad on your home field against Campbell, 14-4, and then traveling to Memphis and getting the sweep, it's a nice series for the 49ers.
Huge for sure. We're looking forward to see how they bounce out in AAC play. Did they win? They lost their series at UTSA last week, right? So they are
Yeah.
The 3.
Yeah. So they are, what is that? 4-2.
4-2. Yeah.
That is
I think they're sitting at like second in the American though, or no?
That's not too bad.
Yeah, they're fourth in the American outright right now, but that's just because ECU's had a good start and a couple other teams have had a decent start. But I was really What is it?
UTSA and South Florida are both 5-1.
Yeah. Okay.
And Reed Tobin, we will keep this in the AAC. The Pirates pick up a series sweep this week at Rice. I know that me and you watched a good amount of this series. I will preface this again. Rice is not a very good baseball team. Watching them, it was hard to watch some of the decisions they would make. But nonetheless, the Pirates do pick up a series sweep, Reed.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good showing this week. I think all Pirates fans are happy. I certainly am. Riley Johnson is finally back. Made an impact today. That is huge for the Pirates. They really needed another bat, and then his fielding speaks for itself. But, the pitching was good this weekend. But like you were saying, Rice is just terrible. I think they're 6-25. But there's no doubt in my mind. I think David Pierce is a phenomenal coach, and he'll turn this Rice program around and get them back to what they used to be in the early 2000s.
Yeah, one thing that stood out to me is this weekend is Braden Burris just continues to deliver for the Pirates. He is a true freshman from Green Central, the same high school as Cliff Godwin. So he's I would say, definitely one of Cliff guys. If you're an ECU fan, you know what I mean when I say that. He has the potential to be an unbelievable player. I have not seen, and people that I've talked to in that building, outside of that building, say that they have not seen a freshman perform at this level in an ECU uniform in a long time. Because Reed, we talked with Steven, if you look back and look at last year's team, the Carter Cunninghams, the Justin Wilcoxons, the Jacob Jenkins Cowers, those guys weren't playing like this as freshmen. So it's got to be positive seeing all these freshmen perform like this, right, Reed?
Absolutely. I mean, I think he's batting. I mean, I know he hasn't started the whole season, but I think he's batting about 420 right now. He's provided a much-needed spark to this Pirates lineup.
And the last thing I want to touch on with ECU, I want to give a shout-out to Jake Hunter, making an unbelievable at-bat, first career college at-bat for Jake Hunter. ECU lost the DH spot because Braden Burris played every position on the field last night because they pitched Colby Wallace, and they had to move Braden Burris around the field because Dixon Williams had to play third, so he played second, right field, and center field. So we lost the DH. So then Jake Hunter had to go in and hit, and he hit the ball. Did not believe he hit it because he almost fell backwards when he hit it, and then he made it first. If you watch the video, it's pretty funny.
I saw that.
But yeah, just an
unbelievable. Got the save in the bottom half of that inning too.
And then he did get the save in the bottom.
Out the side.
So it was pretty incredible.
Scored a run too. I mean, he did it all.
Braxton, when's the last time you've seen that?
The first thing that comes to my head is that there was a guy on LSU. It wasn't like Skeens, but there was a guy on LSU that the interview where he's like, "Man, I hit tanks in high school" or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It can happen. Like, there's obviously guys that two-way. There's guys that, hit in high school that, still got it a little bit. I mean, the pitchers don't get to hit a lot in college baseball, like in practice. I think a lot of teams do, like if you throw a shutout on the weekend, you get pitchers BP type of thing. where they'll just try to hit tanks and DP. But it's definitely impressive when a pitcher can step up there and time up 95 or something like that. But I mean, yeah, it's always a good laugh and cool to see.
Yeah, Colby, we going to see Matt Wilson at the plate soon? Like
That'd
Sam
be
Michael?
fun. I mean, Matt was always a good hitter.
Yeah.
So, I bet he still got it.
I mean, you saw what Sam Highfield did like in Omaha.
Yeah.
I mean, he went like
For
2 for 2 off of Kumar.
Mm-hmm. And Matt was always a good hitter, so if he got in there, I bet he'd get a hit.
Yeah,
Hey,
I mean,
Colby,
it's like riding a bike, bro.
Colby,
Yeah.
should they be making the move? Should Aiden be making the move soon?
I don't see why not.
No question about it. As we will move on to the CAA in a very interesting one, folks. Not sure what is going on with this UNC Wilmington team at all. Back-to-back series drop to Campbell, and then this week they go down 2-0 to North Carolina A&T. I don't think North Carolina A&T tweeted this at all, so I don't know if they did. Does anyone
I
know?
don't think they've tweeted anything since
They
last
tweeted.
week.
They tweeted on their athletics page. I saw like they were giving some love to the baseball team. But I mean, what a win! What a series win for them. They're sitting, I think, like what top tied for second in the CAA right now. Early going. I mean, that's huge for that program.
The Aggies are a threat in the CAA, but Reed, on the flip side of that, UNC Wilmington picks up a win versus Charleston Southern in the midweek, but then goes down 2-0 to A&T, and then decides, hey, we're going to beat them 13-0 today. So what's going on, Reed?
Yeah, a lot of questions. I mean, this team is just so inconsistent, it appears. But, losing this series to A&T is a huge blow for UNCW if their hopes for an at-large, too. I know we've talked about the CAA, how many teams they could potentially get into the tournament. I think right now it's just going to be a one-bid league. But, this Wilmington team needs to figure it out quickly. They're sitting at 14-14, 3-3 in the conference, 2-4 in the conference. So, things need to change quickly in Wilmington.
Yes, as of Thursday, hold on one second, Braxton. As of Thursday, this has changed, so hold me to this. But North Carolina A&T was 279 in the RPI Thursday.
I mean, that's a killer for Wilmington.
I'm gonna see what they went up to, but
UNCW is 8-17.
UNCW dropped 35 RPI points down to 97, and then I'm looking for A&T right now.
Colby, what were you going to say?
I would say that Wilmington's at-large hopes died this weekend.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, you can.
And they were sitting pretty right there in the 60s heading into this weekend.
A&T went up 41 points to 243. So I mean, that's if they can stay this hot in the CAA, then they'll just keep running up. But good for them to get a win at Wilmington.
Yeah, no question about it. And just to Colby's point there, Colby, how important is it to when you have opportunities like this? I mean, if we're being honest, I don't know the numbers of it, but I think UNC Wilmington, by stepping on the field with someone's RPI in the 280s, it's going to hurt you even by stepping on the field, and then let alone if you lose the series.
You got to win.
Yeah, you have to sweep this year. I know A&T's been playing well recently, but if we're being honest, I think Wilmington's roster is a lot more talented than A&T's.
Yes.
And you can't lose this series. I don't even know if you can lose one game. I mean, you're hosting A&T. This is a series you have to sweep, even considering what you just said. A&T was in the 280s in the RPI coming into this weekend, obviously before moving up. But this is a series you got to take care of business if you want to leave the door open for an at-large bid if you don't win the conference tournament. But like I said, I think those hopes died this weekend for an at-large.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And to kind of stay on that same kind of bill of keeping the door open, I think Wake Forest has – I wouldn't say they were in control of the ACC, but they were definitely at the top of the ACC. And this weekend, Reed, the Demon Deacons got swept by Virginia Tech, who we a couple weeks ago said we did not know what this team was. They lost ECU, in the LeClaire Classic, and we really didn't know about this Hokie team, but then they go into Winston-Salem this week and handle them pretty well.
Yeah, I think that was just just a shock to all of us, especially getting swept at home. They had the lead late today to avoid the sweep. It kind of blew that one, but I mean, this pitching staff was roughed up all weekend. From game one, Tech jumped on them, scored 9, I think, in the second inning. I thought Wake, after the heartbreaking series loss last weekend to Clemson, taking care of business midweek, they'd be ready to go this weekend. Certainly not. They're going to fall significantly in the top 25, and then plus our power rankings tomorrow.
Braxton, your thoughts on the Deeks and the Hokies?
Yeah, I was definitely surprised like y'all. I would have had Wake winning that series for sure, at least 2 games. But give credit to the Hokies, man, coming in here. They're playing good ball. I think they've got some hitters on that team. I know Tackett didn't have the best week. He's their usual big slugger. And then Merrick Houston didn't have a good week either on the other side. But, I mean, to go into Winston-Salem and especially winning today, the game that just ended, I mean, for them to pull that out, especially when Wake takes the lead late, trying to avoid the sweep, just clawing for that one. And then Virginia Tech just slams the door on them and says, no, we're going to go back to Blacksburg and take all 3. I mean, that's huge for them in conference play. I mean, these ACC Sunday games can be a difference in you saving some arms come tournament time. I mean, it could be that tight in terms of the seeding when it gets down to it. So, you want to win every game you can. And for them to take today's game, I think was the most impressive of all 3.
Yeah, we almost saw a Carolina Curveball Convos live reaction as that game ended at 8:59, the same time we were going to start our podcast. Cole, me and you were watching it together pre-show. Wake Forest almost had a little comeback there, but fell just short.
Yeah, it was tied 3-3 going into the 9th, and then VT scored 3 runs, and it looked like it was probably over. And then Wake Forest had a little 2-out magic, and he scored 2 on a triple with 2 outs. So they had to run the tying run on third with 2 outs, but couldn't push them across. So ended up falling just short.
And as we keep it in the ACC, Braxton, if you could go to the other final graphic, we can look at some of those scores. These were the Sunday scores. Some series ended on Saturday due to double headers. We will keep it in the ACC as we discuss which direction.
Is this it right here?
Yeah, go one over. Yeah, that's it right there. So that one right there, we'll keep it in the ACC right now. Then we'll go back to the top. Clemson, they massive series win down there in hot Atlanta over Georgia, over Georgia Tech. Reed, just a massive series win for Clemson. I know they're number 6 in the country, but Georgia Tech has been red hot as of late, led by Drew Burris, one of the best players in the entire country. I know Clemson has an arsenal of their own, Reed, but huge win for Clemson. And because the first game yesterday was 18-2, a very odd game, very the oddball of the series. Wouldn't you say, Reed?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a really entertaining series, minus game 2. But Clemson game 1, they were able to hold off Georgia Tech, and then certainly today they were down and then came through. But shout out BJ Bailey for Clemson making his first start and delivered. I think he struck out 8 and gave up 1 earn or 2 earn, something like that. But he was really a great bright spot for this Clemson team. Good for them bouncing back after getting beat pretty handily by Coastal Tuesday night. But I think Clemson's showing why they're arguably the best team in the ACC right now.
Yeah, Braxton, they are swinging a red hot bat right now, especially going down there to a ranked Georgia Tech team and winning that game. What are your thoughts on the series?
Yeah, I was that 18-2 to come back and win the next game in the same day. That's impressive for Clemson. But I thought Georgia Tech was going to take it when Burris hit that home run. I know you guys know my thoughts on him, but Clemson, you've got to be impressed with them pulling that out though, because I knew once they got like the leadoff runner on, I was like, okay, they're going to figure out how to get some runs across here. And then Bakich, he's probably telling those hitters, exactly what he wants them to do. And give them credit. They came through. They got a little infield hit from Andrew Quifo, right to tie it up, and that was all she wrote. So, yeah, I mean Clemson, they really needed to win that because, like I've been saying, if they want, especially if they want to stay in the top, 5-10 teams in the nation, you got to win. You got to beat Georgia Tech. I know Georgia Tech's very good, and you're going on the road to Atlanta, but they've got to win those games if they want to be an Omaha team this year, and they did. So,
Yeah, there's no question about it. The ACC is really barreling up at the top, Colby. Colby, who would you say outside of Clemson is that second spot in the ACC right now?
I guess I'd lean Florida State.
Okay. So,
Agree.
Reed?
Yeah, I agree. I had Florida State winning the ACC to begin with. Took 2 out of 3 this weekend against Notre Dame, and then they beat Florida 2 in the midweek. So Noles are playing some good ball too. Does anyone know when they play Clemson?
Could not tell you off the top of my head. Honestly.
Let's see.
Reed, if you want to look that up, I'll talk about Davidson and Dayton. Dayton defeats Davidson in just if you're listening, I'll read off these scores. On Friday, Dayton defeats Davidson 18-17. And then on the first game of Saturday's doubleheader, Dayton beats Davidson 21-4. You heard that right, 21-4. And then the second game, Davidson wins 22-13. So that is 18-17, 21-4, 22-13. Yeah, those are real baseball scores, by the way. Davidson drops that series in the A10. Dayton picks up. Braxton?
I didn't mean to do that.
FSU Clemson first weekend in May.
That'll be huge in terms of seeding at that time. So we're looking forward to that one. To move on, Presbyterian picks up a series win over Asheville. A good weekend for them as we see Asheville continue to struggle. Looking right now to see who Presbyterian played during the midweek.
Clemson, I think.
Clemson.
Yes, they lost to Clemson 9-1, and UNC Asheville lost to Western Carolina 9-8. And we will move on to Braxton, your alma mater.
Yeah,
as your pop said, you are missing.
That should say, yeah, I think that should say 2-1. East Tennessee, because the series ended yesterday, but East Tennessee did win both yesterday. I was a little disappointed to see them drop that series. I think, they would definitely have a big time argument to be kind of nudging into the rankings there if they get a series win or a sweep. But ETSU is a good team. I mean, they had a good record coming into this series, and they came to Spartanburg and just swung it really well. I mean, we've talked about that park many times, how it doesn't hold many balls in anymore. But for obviously, I didn't get to talk about the upstate win at Doak the other night that I missed the show. But I mean, what a performance from that team! Johnny Sweeney's been hitting the ball like a madman right now. I mean, he's been raking for that team, and then a couple other guys. Henry Zinor is leading off for them. He looked really impressive with like 3 doubles against State. I don't know what he did this weekend, but I think Upstate once again, like they just need some more arms to just kind of be go-to arms for them, and just know that they're handing the right guys the ball that can put up zeros, and they're just not doing that right now, especially at home where it's a short porch and they're giving up a lot of home runs, and they're just trying to play shootouts with some of these teams, and sometimes you're going to win them like they did on Friday, but credit to East Tennessee to come in and basically take the series yesterday.
Yeah, that's a huge win for East Tennessee. But then again, Upstate, don't hang your head too low. You did beat NC State and Raleigh 15-5, and then they did get one you didn't. And then you were talking about that place's launch pad. The score on Friday night was 19-14 Upstate over East Tennessee, which is absolutely insane. To keep it in this, to move on to the Sun Belt, App State gets a series win over Old Dominion 2-1. App State also had.
They beat High Point.
They also beat High Point during the midweek.
They've probably got a decent. They've got a decent case. I mean, they're a game over 500. They're right on the bubble of being ranked. I think we've got to look at them as much as we look at teams like Campbell and Charlotte being in there too. So it's going to be some interesting votes tonight when we compile everything and get the rankings set for tomorrow.
Tobin, do you have any comments?
No, I mean, App State's been playing a lot better ball over the past couple of weeks.
No question about it. Braxton, can you go to the next page, please, sir?
Should be one or two more, I think.
I think one more. Western Carolina.
Oh yeah, Mercer and Western.
Yeah. So Mercer picks up a series win over Western Carolina 2-1.
Oh, and Queens too.
Yes, and Queens. Shocking. Western also picked up a series win over Asheville 9-8. So 2-2 week for Western Carolina. Mercer, not a horrible baseball team. I will say, who is a horrible baseball team? Queens gets swept by Jacksonville. Sorry, hate to say it, but Queens also did hang with Tennessee for a little bit. No one team in the country, even though Tennessee probably had Reed on the mound to start that game for them. So we will see. Just give me your comments on this Royal squad. I know you have a lot of thoughts and analysis on them.
Did you say me?
Reed, Tobin, and then
okay.
Colby, I'll pass it to you. Colby, I'll give you a couple minutes.
I mean, not much to say. I mean, credit them. They hung with Tennessee for 5 innings, and they can take that as a positive.
Colby, where does Queens go from this? They're 4-25.
I think you set a realistic goal in mind this season. Let's try to get to double-digit wins. You're at 4 wins right now. We're sitting about nearly halfway through the year. Let's get the double-digit wins. I think that's.
I mean, they beat App opening weekend in the series,
and it's 2 years in a row they actually hung with Tennessee and Knoxville too. So yeah. I mean, they didn't just do it once; they did it last year too. So.
Yeah, as Braxton's pop says, they were club ball in 2018, and give them a break. That's on us. That's on us. We are very critical of all of other teams as well. And that will do it for the weekend recap of scores. Boys, do you guys want to move into rankings conversations or
let's just go over the pick'ems from this week?
Oh yeah, we go pick'ems. And I have a statement to make in regards to the pick'ems. I'm pretty sure it was my mistake. We put in one of Colby's picks wrong on the pick'em, but it is correct in our Excel spreadsheet. But on this graphic, it is wrong. Colby did pick Campbell, but we put him in as Charleston, so Colby is 4-1. Braxton and myself went 2-3. Money Matt went 3-2. The technician somehow goes to 4-1. Great week for the technician. Reed Tobin with 3-2, and our good friend Steven Igo 3-2. Colby?
Yeah, it's my first good week in like 4 weeks, maybe. I don't know. It's been a tough year. It is kind of an eye opener that 2 people that went 4-1 this week were the 2 worst records, so it's kind of strange.
I mean, I think we've done a good job picking the series the last couple weeks because we like the Duke State one was tough to pick. I think was that the only one you missed, Colby?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they're all split on that one. I think
it's funny how so first of all, each of the weeks a different person picks the pick'em, and well, it has been announced it's going to happen. So this week I'm going to announce Colby Gallimore will be picking the 5 games for the pick'em coming up this week. Reed Tobin picked him this past week. I picked him week before. Braxton picked him week prior to that. So Colby, you will be in charge of the pick'ems this week. It is very interesting how these pick'ems work because Reed, what was your thought process through it? Reed, I'm not hating. I'm legit asking because you didn't put Wake or Virginia Tech in it because I assume you might have thought we'd all pick Wake.
Yeah.
Just like Braxton a couple weeks ago didn't put UNC Stanford in it because honestly at that time didn't really know what Stanford was and heels were really riding high. So, Reed, what was your thought process on the pick'ems this week? On why did you choose these games?
Like you said, skip the week. I certainly would have had Wake. I think probably all of us would have had it. But tried to throw in some teams that we hadn't had on there yet too. I don't think we had State or Duke on there yet too, but adding Wofford and Citadel too. Even though we all picked Wofford, but just try to pick out the most entertaining series that I think are going to happen for the weekend, the top ones.
Yeah, Colby, there's a lot of pressure on you this week to make sure you pick a good amount of 5 games, sir. A lot of pressure.
Yeah, well, I already know what one of the series will be.
Duke, Carolina.
I mean, yeah, it's got to
Duke.
Duke,
Well,
Carolina.
I will say one thing about like picking the games. I like to kind of go with the like double Carolina teams over like a like for instance, when I was looking at the Stanford UNC, like yes, my thought process was okay, everyone's probably going to pick UNC, but also we're biasly going to like take the side of the Carolina team.
Yeah.
If we want to see, not Carolina for that example, but just in general, like most of us are going to ride with the Carolina teams. Whereas if we have 2 in there, it kind of makes for a better, 2 different fan bases that we have and everything. So I don't know. I think we've done a decent job. And do we want to talk about Steven's picks? I know we're having the guest record now. So
Yeah, Steven Igo picked Upstate, Duke, Clemson, Charleston, and Wofford. His losses were Upstate and Charleston. He texted me on Friday night the score of the Upstate game and responded and texted me with a WTF is this? And I was like, yeah, Braxton has told us ad nauseum that place is launch pad. And then he texted me back Saturday morning and said, hope they don't let me down today.
And they
Steven,
did.
I'm sorry, buddy. They did let you down. And he did pick Duke. His reasoning for Duke was that he thinks they're just a very, very talented team. He wasn't really sure about NC State, but he just said that he thinks Duke has the arms and the talent to play. He picked Clemson because he thinks Clemson is the more talented team. That was one he was really torn on because earlier this week the Georgia Tech coach did announce he's retiring. So we'll talk about how Georgia Tech may have some extra juice, but he did end up going with Clemson. And he also picked College of Charleston over Campbell. Steven Igo, no, not a fan of Campbell. I do know that from knowing him personally. So he did pick them over them. And then Wofford, he picked Wofford because he knows how ECU and Wofford fans and how Scott Lorbatch have interacted. So he picked Wofford over the Citadel. I think he would pick anyone over Wofford if they were not playing the Citadel. So Reed, that was a really fun show on Tuesday, and your thoughts on Steven's picks?
Yeah, I mean, great time having Steven on. Thanks for him for coming on Tuesday night.
Thursday night.
Sorry. But yeah, that the Upstate when he was predicting an Upstate sweep, that was quite bold. But
yes, he did. Forgot about that Upstate sweep, Mr. Right.
Yeah, but we had pretty similar.
They've really played a lot better on the road this year.
Oh, yeah.
Like they went to Charleston Southern, got a sweep, went to State, got a win, went to Stetson, got a game. They have not figured it out at home. I don't like they should know their part. When I played there, it was an absolute graveyard. I mean, we played to our field. It was you would almost never seen home runs go out of there. You'd had to really get a hold of one. But now I've heard it's just get it up in the air and it has a shot. So.
Do they have the Yankee bats down there in Spartanburg?
I'm not sure. I'm not
Did they
sure.
move the fence in?
What?
Did they move the fence in just like
they moved? Yeah, they moved the fence in like 20 feet or so. It used to play really deep. I don't know what's happened with the wind too, because it used to like play a big factor and keep balls in too. So I'm not sure, but it just balls seem to fly out of there now. So
Colby, they do have the bats confirmed.
Yeah, they stole Anthony Volpe's bet.
That's just.
You think he got it? Go.
With Duke and UNC starting Thursday night, I guess we have to push up the pick 'em to one day earlier.
If we're gonna do that series, we probably should get them out on Thursday.
Yeah.
So be sure to be on alert for those pick'ems, as well as this week. The boys are going to be compiling the stat leaders for the Carolinas. We're going to do this at the beginning of each month. This is the beginning of the month, as the 31st is tomorrow. Happy Monday, everybody. We will be compiling the stat leaders. Boys, really looking forward to seeing how that kind of stacks up. I expect to see a lot of high point Panthers on the offensive ones. looking forward to seeing who leads the Carolinas in batting average and RBIs, and also the pitching stats. I'm very curious about that, as well as stolen bases. Will we see some Garden Web Bulldogs down there at the top? It's a good thing we don't have VMI in the Carolinas, because have y'all seen VMI's stats for that?
Absurd.
Yeah.
Did you have a comment?
Nah, I mean, it's ridiculous how many they've played. I don't know who they were playing the first few weeks of the season, but
It is
the
absolutely
other
ridiculous.
teams didn't have a catcher.
Yeah. Braxton, what else do you want to get in on to tonight, sir?
I mean, we can talk some rankings real quick. I think the top. I mean, I don't want to say the top 10 picks itself, but I think there's more of an idea of the top 5 to 10, more so than like kind of those bubble teams that we really need to figure out who's taking the 11, 12 spot.
And
I don't want to be so harsh to knock South Carolina out. I think some of y'all might, but I personally will not have them out of the top 12 yet. I think they're still one of the most talented teams in the Carolinas. They just need to maybe move to the ACC or something. Not even maybe move to the Sun Belt.
Jeez. And just to reiterate our rankings for those listening and watching, right now of the week 6 power rankings, Clemson is number 1, Wake Forest number 2, North Carolina number 3, NC State number 4, Coastal Carolina coming in at number 5, the Duke Blue Devils at 6, East Carolina at 7, South Carolina at 8, 9 is Wofford, 10 High Point, 11 Charleston Southern, and 12 UNC Wilmington. So as Braxton was alluding to, that 9, 10, 11, 12 spot is going to be very, very interesting, as well as that 8 where South Carolina is sitting. I definitely think from 7 to 1 there will be some change up, but I think those 7 will stay there in the 7 maybe.
Yeah.
But from 8 down, starting from South Carolina, Wofford, High Point, College of Charleston, UNC Wilmington, Colby, there's going to be a lot of shakeup there. Colby, will we see a new team in the power rankings this week?
I'd say yes. I think there will be.
Reed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Braxton?
Yeah, I'll go as far as saying I think we'll see 2 new teams.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see how this shakes out. Very curious. Also, be on alert tomorrow for our weekly honor roll. Player of the week, pitcher of the week, honor roll, team of the week. Going to be very interesting on who those are. I expect some High Point Panthers to be on the honor roll when you score 300 runs in the weekend, as well as Upstate Spartans. I expect Johnny Sweeney to be on there. Reed, hopefully Lane Tobin's on there for you.
I sure hope so.
For you, buddy. All right, boys. Do we have anything else, Carolina Curveball, we want to get off our chest tonight?
I
think we're good.
Yeah. Hopefully, come join us on Thursday. We're going to try to get another guest on, I think, hopefully.
Yes, sir. Hopefully have another guest on. And as we wrap up tonight, we will talk about some more baseball. Colby, we will begin with you as a major MLB fan. Opening day was this week. As hold on, we'll pause on that to talk about Braxton's pop fan.
No, we're not talking about
that. That will not be discussed.
Reed, Tobin, can you please discuss this topic?
No. Next question. Next topic.
All right. Colby, as I stated before, opening day was this week. What are your thoughts on the season so far? Just how excited are you as opening day is going on as your Dodgers defend their World Series?
Yeah, it's been great. I love the MLB. Lifelong Dodger fan, so there's been a lot of playoff chokes, but last year finally got over the hump. I guess 2022, but some people invalidate that, which is fair. But yeah, it's been good. Dodgers 5-0. Got a weird off day today on Sunday, which is just odd. But I saw the Braves got swept in a 4-game series by the Padres. I was not happy about that.
Not a good start for the Bravos.
Red Sox lost 3 out of 4.
Walker Buehler didn't look too good for the Red Sox.
The Dodgers will probably sweep the Braves too, so they'll come back to Atlanta like 0-7.
Yeah, that series gets underway tomorrow, right?
Yeah, Glass now.
Yeah, I didn't do much baseball watching. I did watch the White Sox win the first game versus the Angels. Pretty incredible. I did bet on the White Sox to win that game. So,
did you see their tarps?
No.
Their field tarp.
Oh yeah.
There's like a bunch of small tarps like compiled together. Like I don't know what's going on in that franchise, but I mean, good lord, we can't even have a tarp for an MLB team.
I did see they have a new lineup of milkshakes at the Chicago White Sox Stadium, and they look absolutely delicious. That is one thing that I've looked at this as opening day, all the opening day food and just the new food in the ballparks. Buddy, I could scroll for hours on Twitter looking at the food.
It's a good thing Tobin's not paying attention right now.
Yep, it's a good thing Tobin's on his phone right now. I'm not paying attention to what I just said.
I don't need to hear that.
Read, what did I say?
Milkshakes and cheese curds and cotton candy.
Aaron Reed will be getting plenty of those in Greenville next week. So,
Yes. So,
Reed, do we want to talk about our golf round yesterday?
oh yes.
Let's not talk about the beginning of the round, but
no. Can we do what happened in the beginning of the round, everybody? Can we please?
Front nine. We were all ready to go out of there by hole 3. We were done. We were not keeping score, but we continued on. It was bad. It was our first round of 2025 for anyone.
Hadn't played since July.
Gosh,
that's insane. But we had a better back nine. Me and Reed did, at least. I don't know about Money, but
No.
Money left with one less club than he went there with. So we'll just leave it at that.
Broken 9-iron.
I'll speak for myself. I went to Martinsville Speedway to watch the NASCAR Xfinity race. It was an absolutely great time. I downed probably 18 hot dogs, oatmeal cream pies, lemonades, funnel cakes. Had a great time down there.
Sounds like the state fair.
Oh, it is. Colby, if you've never been to Martinsville, you need to come next time. It is a blast. You can walk in there with a full case of beer and they won't say anything to you.
Oh, okay. I'm interested now.
Absolutely electric. Boys, it's been fun. Now it is time to say goodbye to the people and getting to our rankings discussion, as they will be waiting at 12 p.m. tomorrow noon for our power rankings. And don't go too far because our weekly honor roll will be after that. Lastly, be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, X. Join our Discord for content. Subscribe to our YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. Be there or be square. We will see you on Thursday.